The false perception. The alien fleet hovered over Earth, casting shadows over the planet. They had come to conquer, to show the humans just how weak they were. They believed humanity was nothing more than a primitive species, a mere speck in the vastness of the galaxy. Earth was just one of many planets, and the aliens were certain they would easily crush any resistance. After all, the humans were far behind in technology and military strength compared to the mighty alien empire. The first encounter had been quick and without incident. The humans had tried to communicate with them, offering peace and cooperation. But the aliens had only laughed, dismissing humanity as nothing more than an insignificant race. Their ships were small and frail, easily outmatched by the advanced alien technology. The humans had no weapons capable of harming the powerful alien fleet. For the alien commanders, it was a simple matter of logic. A species so far behind in technology couldn't possibly pose a threat. So, they gave the order. The invasion began. As the alien ships approached Earth's atmosphere, the humans responded. But their response was weak, pitiful in comparison to the alien might. A few jets scrambled into the sky, their weapons ineffective against the alien armada. The humans fired their missiles, hoping for a miracle, but the projectiles were intercepted and destroyed long before they could even reach their targets. To the aliens, it was laughable. The humans were no match for them. The battle was over before it even began. From the aliens' perspective, humanity had no chance. They had no reason to fear a species so clearly inferior. The humans' efforts were nothing but a delay. The alien fleet's invasion would be swift, and Earth would fall under their rule within days, maybe even hours. The humans had nothing to fight with. The alien fleet was hundreds of times more powerful, with weapons that could obliterate entire cities in the blink of an eye. But what the aliens didn't realize was that humanity had always been underestimated. It wasn't because the humans were weak, but because they had learned to hide their true strength. The aliens couldn't see it, but the humans had been preparing for this moment for generations. As the invasion force moved closer to Earth, the alien commanders sat comfortably in their control rooms, smug in their certainty. They expected the humans to surrender quickly, their cities to crumble under the alien might. But something felt off. They couldn't put their finger on it, but there was an underlying tension in the air, a sense that something wasn't as simple as it seemed. Meanwhile, on Earth, a few high-ranking human officials gathered in secret underground bunkers. They watched the alien ships on their screens and listened to the alien communications, which they had intercepted. It was clear that the aliens expected an easy victory. What they didn't know was that humanity had been planning for years. The so-called weak humans had been developing technology in secret, far beyond what the aliens had ever anticipated. They had weapons that could counter the alien forces and a plan to strike back when the time was right. But none of this was visible to the alien commanders. They saw only what their sensors told them. And all the sensors showed was a primitive, defenseless species struggling to fight back. The humans' desperation only made them seem weaker in the eyes of the invaders. The more they fought, the more the aliens laughed, thinking the humans' efforts were futile. The alien fleet moved closer to Earth, unaware that they were about to make a fatal mistake. They believed they had already won. Earth would fall without a fight, and they would become the rulers of yet another world. It was a simple, predictable outcome in their minds. But what they didn't understand was that underestimating humanity would be their greatest downfall. As the first wave of the invasion began to make contact with Earth's surface, the alien commanders were preparing for their victory celebration. They already saw themselves as conquerors, imagining the humans bowing before them, surrendering without a second thought. But they had no idea that they were walking straight into a trap. The humans had learned to fight not with brute force alone, but with strategy, intelligence, and most importantly, patience. Humanity had always been underestimated throughout history, from the early days of their evolution to their rise as a global power. Now, they were about to show the aliens what they had failed to notice all along. Humans were not weak. They were just waiting for the right moment to strike back. The alien fleet descended into Earth's atmosphere, their weapons ready to fire. But what they didn't realize was that humanity had something far more dangerous than the most advanced weapons. They had the will to survive, the intelligence to adapt, and the strength to fight back in ways the aliens couldn't even imagine. At that moment, the alien fleet began to sense it. Something was wrong. The humans had been too quiet, too obedient. Where was the panic, the chaos that should have been spreading across the planet? Why had they not surrendered? The answer would soon become clear. And when it did, the aliens would learn the most important lesson of all. Never underestimate humanity. The hidden strength. The alien commanders, still unaware of the true potential of humanity, pressed forward with their invasion. Their massive ships loomed in Earth's atmosphere, ready to strike down any human resistance with overwhelming firepower. From their perspective, the humans had no chance. After all, how could a species with primitive weapons and no real spacefaring fleet stand up to an empire that controlled half the galaxy? But something was stirring beneath the surface. The humans, despite the heavy odds, weren't entirely helpless. The first few days of the invasion had shown the aliens a planet on the edge of panic. Cities were in chaos, and the air was thick with fear. But that was not the true face of humanity. It was only the surface, the distraction. What the alien commanders didn't know was that humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. The so-called primitive humans had been quietly building their forces, their technology, and their strategies, always keeping their true capabilities hidden. The aliens had dismissed the humans as weak for one simple reason. They had never expected them to rise when the time came. They had assumed the humans were too disorganized, too fractured to fight back. But humanity had learned long ago that in the face of a threat, they would unite. They would rise up together. In underground bunkers, human leaders were moving quickly, coordinating efforts across the planet to fight back. Hidden away in military bases, away from the aliens' watchful eyes, they activated the first line of defense. These weren't the missiles or weapons the aliens had already intercepted. These were something far more dangerous. The human supercomputers, once thought to be obsolete, now came to life. Their true purpose, which had been kept secret for years, was revealed: to direct the world's energy grid and power weapons that the aliens had never even dreamed of. A hidden satellite network, designed by human scientists decades ago, activated simultaneously across the globe. These satellites, when triggered, unleashed massive EMP bursts that took down entire sections of the alien fleet's outer defenses. Their shields flickered and then failed. The aliens, now scrambling to understand what had happened, realized their mistake. The humans were not as defenseless as they thought. The first wave of Earth's counterattack had begun. They had underestimated humanity's capacity to fight back, and now the humans were showing them the strength of their hidden power. As the alien fleet reformed and prepared to retaliate, they faced an unexpected hurdle. The humans were not fighting in the traditional sense. They weren't rushing into battle with sheer force. Instead, they were using their knowledge, their technology, and their ingenuity to fight smarter. The alien fleet, massive and technologically advanced, was now vulnerable in ways they had never anticipated. The alien commanders, growing more anxious with each passing minute, began to issue orders to counter the human surprise attack. But each move they made seemed to fall into the humans' trap. The humans were outthinking them, outmaneuvering them in ways the aliens had never believed possible. Back on Earth, the human military had just begun to deploy their most powerful asset, a fleet of long-range supercarriers, ships designed in secret for years. These ships were equipped with cutting-edge technology, weapons that had been hidden for decades. The aliens had no idea that such ships even existed. They had been watching Earth for years, yet the humans had always appeared weak, until now. The supercarriers launched from Earth's surface, breaking through the atmosphere and into space. As they ascended, they deployed drones that scattered through the atmosphere, forming a massive defense grid. The drones formed a web around Earth, creating a barrier the alien ships couldn't breach without suffering significant damage. The aliens now realized the truth. The humans had been holding back all along, concealing their true strength. It wasn't just their military technology that had been hidden. It was their will to fight. The humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as a species too weak to defend their own planet. But the aliens were about to learn that this perception was wrong. The first waves of alien ships attempted to regroup and retaliate, but they were slowed down by the sudden barrage of fire from the hidden satellites and supercarrier fleet. Earth's defenses were now fully activated, and the tide of the battle was turning. The humans were no longer playing by the aliens' rules. They had gone beyond the primitive tech the aliens had seen, unleashing a wave of high-powered energy weapons that seemed to make the alien ships falter at every turn. For the first time since the invasion began, the alien fleet hesitated. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The humans had hidden their strength in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to strike. They hadn't just been weak, they had been biding their time, preparing to show the universe the true power of Earth. The aliens could not afford to be caught off guard again. They had to rethink their strategy, but the damage was done. The once confident invaders were now reeling, confused, and uncertain of their next move. The true strength of humanity was about to be revealed, and the aliens would have to make a choice: adapt or fall. The turning tide. The alien commanders, though experienced in battle, were not accustomed to being on the defensive. They had always dominated the galaxies they conquered. The idea that a primitive, underdeveloped species like humanity could pose any serious threat was laughable to them. But now, as their once invincible fleet began to falter under Earth's unexpected counteroffensive, their confidence began to crack. Across the battlefield, the supercarriers, mighty ships that once seemed like simple, outdated junk, now revealed their true potential. Their powerful weapons systems, hidden for decades in secret underground labs and advanced military facilities, were now unleashed. The alien fleet had failed to account for these ships, and they paid the price. The aliens watched in disbelief as their own ships were struck by high-powered beams of energy. The supercarriers' advanced technology and weapons systems shredded through their shields with terrifying precision. What they once mocked as a junk fleet had now become a nightmare they couldn't escape. On Earth, the tide was rapidly turning. The military forces that had once been scattered and fragmented were now unified. Every human on the planet seemed to be in on the fight, whether they were working in factories, designing new weapons, or contributing to the battle in their own unique way. The call to arms had ignited something deep within humanity: the will to survive, to protect their home, and to show the universe that they would not be dismissed. The alien commanders had underestimated human ingenuity, and now they were witnessing it firsthand. They watched in horror as the human forces deployed their new weapons: energy shields that blocked their missiles, drones that harassed them from every angle, and ground forces armed with advanced technologies they had never seen. They began to realize that humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their place in the galaxy. Even as the alien fleet regrouped, they could see that their enemy was not giving up. The humans were relentless, constantly adjusting and adapting to the alien tactics. It was as if Earth itself had become a living, breathing organism in the fight, a force determined to protect itself and its people. But the aliens were not going down without a fight. The alien empress, furious and humiliated, ordered a counterattack. Her forces scrambled to regroup and attempt to overpower humanity's newfound strength. They began launching waves of bombers and fighters, intending to break through the human defenses and cripple their supercarriers. But what the aliens didn't realize was that humanity had prepared for this moment as well. Their supercarriers weren't just heavily armed. They were also equipped with a series of fail-safes. Hidden within the massive ships were powerful cloaking devices and decoys designed to confuse the alien attackers. As the waves of enemy bombers neared, The supercarriers activated their cloaking systems, disappearing from the aliens' radar. For a moment, the alien fleet was confused. They had no idea where the supercarriers had gone, and their bombers were now sitting ducks, vulnerable to counterattack. Humanity had used the element of surprise to great effect once again. The cloaked supercarriers launched devastating counterstrikes, obliterating the alien bombers in a matter of moments. Back on Earth, the people cheered. They had been given a glimmer of hope, a glimpse of the future they were fighting to protect. But the battle was far from over. The aliens, enraged by their losses, were regrouping for one final push, one last attempt to break humanity's resolve. They knew that their pride and their future were on the line. If they failed here, they would be forced to return to their empire in disgrace. As the battle raged on, the humans had one thing the aliens didn't: the will to keep fighting. No matter how overwhelming the alien forces seemed, humanity never lost its resolve. The aliens had underestimated this strange, chaotic species that had once been seen as insignificant. Now, they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. An enemy that fought with heart, innovation, and an unyielding desire to survive. The aliens' mockery of humanity's junk starships now seemed like a distant memory. The humans weren't just fighting for their lives. They were fighting to prove that they belonged in the stars. They had made their mark on the universe, and they were about to show the aliens that they would not be pushed around. The turning tide of the battle was undeniable. The alien fleet was no longer a threat to Earth. The humans had turned their so-called junk starships into a powerful unified force capable of defending their planet and sending the invaders into retreat. And just as the aliens had once laughed at humanity's apparent weakness, they now realized the full extent of their mistake. But the war wasn't over. Humanity had proven its strength, but it would need to continue to push forward to ensure their survival. The aliens had learned a harsh lesson: never underestimate the power of a species that is willing to fight for its home. The final stand. The alien fleet was no longer the formidable force they once were. The relentless tide of human ingenuity had dismantled their advantages, and the invaders now found themselves fighting for survival. Their ships, once symbols of dominance, now floated aimlessly in space, riddled with holes and damaged by the unexpected might of humanity's supercarriers. But despite the overwhelming pressure, the alien empress was not one to retreat easily. Her pride, her empire, and her very reputation were at stake. She had seen the devastation her forces had suffered, but she still believed she could regain control. She gathered her most loyal commanders and began to devise a final, desperate plan to crush humanity once and for all. Humanity, however, was prepared. The once underestimated junk starships had become more than just weapons. They had become symbols of human defiance. Each ship carried not just advanced weaponry, but also a symbol of unity and survival. Across Earth, every city and every nation had rallied together in a way that no one thought possible. The world had become one force, one unified power, all working toward a singular goal: to protect their planet, their future, and their home. The final battle was set to take place in the cold void of space, far from the eyes of the world's civilians. The alien fleet was preparing to launch a final assault, bringing with it everything they had left. The human fleet, composed of the 200 supercarriers, was ready for the ultimate confrontation. As the battle began, the vastness of space seemed to shrink, the two fleets colliding with a force that shook the stars. The aliens threw everything they had at the human supercarriers, firing missiles, launching torpedoes, and deploying wave after wave of attack ships. But humanity was ready. The supercarriers, equipped with shields far stronger than anything the aliens had seen, absorbed the blasts and retaliated with equal force. The alien ships, once powerful and confident, were now scrambling to hold their ground. The human forces worked in perfect coordination, using their superior tactics and advanced technologies to overwhelm the enemy. The alien fleet's attempts to regroup and reorganize were futile against the sheer strength and precision of the human counteroffensive. On the bridge of one of the alien flagships, the Empress stood frozen, her eyes locked on the unfolding chaos. The battle was slipping through her fingers, and she could feel the weight of her failure bearing down on her. She had underestimated humanity, and now it was too late to turn back. But in a final act of desperation, the alien Empress ordered a last-ditch maneuver. She commanded her flagship to engage the humans directly, attempting to ram one of their supercarriers with everything she had left. The flagship's engines roared as it charged toward its target, the Empress determined to make her final stand. The humans saw the move coming and knew they had to act fast. The supercarriers, with their cloaking technology and advanced weaponry, evaded the initial assault and launched a counterattack. In a split second, the flagship was hit with a volley of laser blasts and high-powered missiles, causing a massive explosion. The flagship, the pride of the alien fleet, was obliterated in an instant. The alien fleet, now leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat. The humans had won. The battle was over, and the alien invaders were forced to abandon their conquest. The survivors, in their fear and shame, fled back to the far reaches of the galaxy, never to return to Earth again. The galaxy, once again, had been reminded that humans were not weak, not defenseless, and not to be underestimated. Back on Earth, the celebrations were deafening. The people of the planet had come together to defeat a force that had seemed invincible. The victory was not just a military success. It was a triumph of human will, unity, and ingenuity. The once doubted junk starships had turned the tide of battle, and humanity had proven its place in the stars. But for the alien Empress and her fleet, this defeat was more than just a loss of territory. It was a lesson. A painful, costly lesson that would echo across the galaxies for eons. Never again would they underestimate humanity's strength, nor would they dare to challenge Earth's place in the cosmos. The humans had done what no one thought possible. They had defended their planet, their home, and their future. And as the galaxy watched, they now knew one undeniable truth. Humanity was no longer a species to be dismissed. It was a force to be reckoned with. The aftermath of victory. The vast emptiness of space now held the silence of a battle won. The once thriving alien fleet, a symbol of immense power and superiority, had been reduced to floating debris and scattered wreckage. Humanity's victory was not just a triumph in battle, but also a declaration to the galaxy that they were no longer a species to be underestimated. Back on Earth, the news spread like wildfire. The people of every nation celebrated as if the world itself had been reborn. Flags were waved, cheers echoed through cities, and the sense of unity was stronger than ever. The victory was not just a military one, but also a psychological blow to the rest of the universe. No longer could any species see humanity as weak or helpless. But amidst the celebrations, a sense of caution lingered. Earth had won this battle. But the war with the galaxy's most advanced race had exposed a terrifying truth. While the aliens had been driven off, their empire was vast, and their anger would not fade so easily. The alien Empress, though humiliated and defeated, still commanded a force capable of returning to Earth with vengeance. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and humanity now found itself in the spotlight. The leaders of Earth gathered in secret, meeting in the shadow of their newfound strength. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. What the aliens had revealed in their failed conquest was that humanity's rise had only just begun. The galaxy was filled with power-hungry species, each more dangerous than the last, and they would soon learn that humanity was not a species to be trifled with. As humanity looked to the stars, there were questions about what the future held. Would other alien empires seek to avenge their fallen comrades, or would they see Earth's strength and fear it? For the first time in history, humanity stood on equal footing with the most advanced civilizations the universe had ever known. The human supercarriers, now iconic symbols of their strength, would become the foundation of Earth's defense. They were no longer just ships. They were a symbol of human resolve. Earth's military had been transformed into something far more powerful, its reach extending far beyond the limits of the solar system. No longer confined to their own planet, humans were now an intergalactic force to be reckoned with. But Earth's leaders knew that with great power came even greater responsibility. The galaxy was full of unknowns, and the future was uncertain. Earth's victory had sent ripples across the universe, but it had also made humanity a target. The galaxy's empires would be watching, waiting for the humans to falter, to make a mistake. But the human resolve was stronger than ever, and Earth was ready to defend its home and its place in the stars. In the months that followed the battle, Earth began to establish its presence across the galaxy. Ambassadors were sent to other planets, forging alliances and offering humanity's help in exchange for security and knowledge. Earth, once an isolated and small planet, had suddenly become a player on the galactic stage. Humanity was no longer just part of the galaxy. They were shaping its future. The message was clear. Earth would not be conquered. Humanity had proved that against all odds, they could rise to any challenge. And while the alien Empress's forces had been defeated, Earth had learned an important lesson. No one could ever be certain about the true power of humanity. The rest of the galaxy would learn this in time. But for now, the people of Earth took a moment to breathe, to reflect on the journey they had been through. They had faced extinction and had come out victorious. The victory was theirs, but the war for their future was just beginning. Humanity had proven that it could defend its home, but the challenges of the galaxy were far from over. With courage, strength, and unity, humanity would face whatever came next. The first steps into the unknown. Months passed after humanity's monumental victory, and the scars of battle slowly healed. Earth, now a beacon of strength in the galaxy, was adjusting to its newfound status. The people who once saw themselves as insignificant were now the dominant force in the solar system, and their presence in the galaxy was being felt by more and more civilizations. But with great power came new challenges, some of which humanity was not yet prepared to face. Humanity's leaders had learned valuable lessons in the aftermath of the war with the alien empire. Earth's victory wasn't just a military success. It had opened a door to the broader universe, one that was full of opportunities but also filled with threats. The galactic community was vast, and though humanity had proven itself capable of holding its ground, they were still newcomers in a universe teeming with complex and dangerous civilizations. The human fleet, now composed of the 200 supercarriers and other advanced warships, was ready for the next phase: exploration. They had proved they could defend themselves, but now they had to venture out, seeking new allies and ensuring their place in the galactic order. The first step was to send ambassadors to neighboring systems, to establish peaceful relations with other races and exchange knowledge. However, not all the alien empires were as receptive to humanity's overtures. Some saw Earth's rise as a threat, a force that would upset the balance of power in the galaxy, while others who had watched humanity's victory over the alien invaders with awe began to view Earth as a potential ally. As humanity's fleet set out to explore the galaxy, they encountered a range of species, some peaceful, others not so much. Some civilizations welcomed the humans with open arms, eager to share knowledge and trade. However, there were those who refused to acknowledge humanity's strength and power, still dismissing them as insignificant. One such species, the Dareth, a fierce and prideful race from the Outer Rim, was particularly hostile. That Exhilarating had heard whispers of humanity's defeat of the alien empire and had come to the conclusion that Earth was an emerging power that needed to be contained. Their warriors, known for their brutal tactics and superior combat skills, saw humanity's rise as a challenge to their dominance. When a human delegation, led by one of Earth's most respected generals, attempted to establish a peaceful negotiation with the Dareth, they were met with suspicion and hostility. The Dareth demanded that the humans bow before their might, mocking them for their perceived weakness. The human ambassadors, well aware of the Dareth's reputation, understood that this would not be an easy negotiation, but they were also keenly aware of the strength that humanity now possessed. As the negotiations took a dangerous turn, Earth's fleet was positioned in the nearby system, ready to respond if things escalated. They had the power to end any potential conflict before it began. The Gareth, sensing the resolve of the human delegation, soon realized that they were dealing with a species far different from the one they had heard about in the past. Humanity was no longer afraid of them. In fact, they had the power to destroy the Gareth if necessary. The tables had turned, and the Gareth, who once considered themselves the galaxy's greatest warriors, were now facing a force they had underestimated. In a shocking twist, the Gareth backed down, agreeing to a ceasefire and offering a peace treaty in exchange for Earth's promise not to interfere with their territory. It was a hard-earned victory, but it proved something vital. Humanity was no longer just a planet to be dismissed. They had earned respect in the galaxy, and they were prepared to defend their newfound position. The first steps into the unknown had not been easy, but they had been successful. Humanity had proven that it could navigate the complex web of galactic politics and that it could hold its own against even the most hostile forces. But the journey was far from over. The galaxy was full of untold mysteries, and humanity had only begun to scratch the surface. As Earth's influence spread across the stars, their resolve remained unshaken. They knew that with every new ally, every new challenge, and every new enemy, they would face it as one united force. They had won the battle, but the war for their place in the universe was just beginning. The final test. As humanity's reach continued to grow across the galaxy, the echoes of their victory against the alien empire reverberated through every corner of space. Their supercarriers, once a symbol of humanity's humble beginnings, had now become a cornerstone of their military and diplomatic power. Every new ally and every successful negotiation served as a reminder that Earth was no longer the fragile, isolated planet it once was. However, this rise in power didn't go unnoticed. While many species were cautiously optimistic about the humans, others saw them as a threat, one that could disrupt the balance of power they had worked so hard to establish. The uneasy peace humanity had built over the past months would soon be tested in ways they hadn't anticipated. Deep within the heart of a distant, uncharted part of the galaxy, a coalition of ancient and powerful alien races began to form. These civilizations, who had watched Earth's rapid rise with growing unease, decided that humanity could no longer be allowed to continue unchecked. If left unchecked, humans would soon dominate the galaxy, and that was a future they could not allow. The coalition's first move was subtle, a series of small skirmishes and covert attacks on humanity's growing territories. They struck at supply lines, sabotaged trade routes, and even attempted to infiltrate Earth's diplomatic efforts with falsehoods and deceit. Their goal was to weaken humanity's resolve, to test if their strength could truly stand up to the challenges that lay beyond their solar system. But Earth was prepared. Humanity's military had become more sophisticated with each passing day. The 200 supercarriers, now fully operational and outfitted with advanced weapons and defenses, were a testament to their military prowess. Earth's fleet was no longer just a defensive force. It was an offensive one, ready to strike back against any threat. The people of Earth, united in their resolve, would not bend to the pressure of these alien empires. In a bold move, the alien coalition revealed themselves in full force. Their fleets, numbering in the hundreds, appeared out of nowhere, attacking humanity's outermost colonies. The ships were massive, their technology advanced, and their strategy ruthless. They were intent on breaking humanity's spirit before it could become a dominant force in the galaxy. The battle was inevitable. As the alien fleet advanced, the human fleet moved to intercept them, a show of force that stunned even the coalition. The battle took place across several systems, with the human fleet engaging in a series of fierce dogfights, pushing back the invaders. The supercarriers, with their unparalleled firepower and maneuverability, became the spearhead of humanity's defense. For the first time, the coalition realized that the humans were no longer just a nuisance. They were a force to be reckoned with. The battle was long and brutal, but humanity's resolve was unbreakable. Earth's fleet, though smaller in number, was far more advanced and battle-hardened. Every human soldier, every pilot, every strategist fought with the knowledge that the survival of their species was on the line. The aliens quickly realized that humanity's strength came not just from their weapons or ships, but from their unity and determination. In a climactic moment, the final blow was struck. The alien coalition, battered and broken, retreated into the depths of space, their forces decimated. The victory was not only a triumph of military might, but also of humanity's spirit. The galactic empires, who had once dismissed Earth as weak, now knew the truth. Humanity was no longer just a species trying to survive. They were a force that could shape the future of the galaxy. But the victory came at a cost. Though Earth had won, the battle had left scars that would take time to heal. The galactic community was no longer a peaceful place, and humanity had to remain vigilant. They had proven their strength, but the galaxy was still full of dangers, both known and unknown. In the aftermath, Earth's leaders convened once more. They knew that the battle for their place in the galaxy was far from over. New challenges, new threats, and new opportunities lay ahead. But one thing was certain: humanity would never again be seen as weak or insignificant. They had faced their greatest test and had come out victorious. Humanity's journey had only just begun. The stars now held a new future for them, one where they could chart their own course and shape their destiny. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Humans may have once seemed weak, but when they unleashed their true power, they became an unstoppable force.